Hello, everyone, and welcome to Federal Government. That is Government 2305 in the Summer 2 term of 2019. So this is just a short little welcome video to kind of show you around the Canvas course and show you some of the materials that we'll be using throughout this course for this Summer 2 session. And so this is the Canvas homepage. For the course, I'm going to show you where all of the sort of pertinent information is for the course. And so the first place that we will want to go after watching this video is looking at the syllabus here for the class. So on the syllabus, you have right here at the very top, of course, my information. My name is Karen May, and I'm going to be the instructor for this class. Here you can see somewhat how to get in touch with me if you need to. I do have an office on campus that is room 222 AB, which is the building there, but I won't really be found in that office over the summer. Throughout the course of this class, the Summer 2 class, you can find me in the Idea Center, which is located in the Bain Center building on campus, which is just behind the library. I am there most Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, but I highly recommend that you shoot me an email first, and we can arrange a specific time for you to come if you want to come see me in person. And I can be reached at the email address there, karen.may@navarrocollege.edu. So this course, Government 2305, we will be focusing on the origin and development of the U.S. Constitution, the structure of U.S. government, including the branches of government, principles like federalism. We'll look at political participation, the election process, public policy, and all of those kind of things throughout this course. There is a required textbook for the course. That is The Challenge of Democracy by Kenneth Janda and Company, I believe, 14th edition, and with MindTap access. So MindTap is a software program, online software that comes with the textbook, which we will be using extensively, particularly for the classwork for the class. So you want to make sure that you have a book with MindTap access. MindTap access is unique to you as a student because it's tied to a grade book on MindTap, which is then tied to the grade book for the course as well. You do have some options for getting a hold of that. We have this program at Navarro called Cengage Unlimited. A lot of Navarro courses use Cengage material, and so we have a deal with the publisher for this unlimited subscription, which for a single price, that $120 there, you have access to all Cengage products. So if you're taking, a government class, a history class, and a Spanish class, and all of them use Cengage, then you can pay that $120 and have access to all the materials for all three of those classes. So it's pretty useful like that. You can get more information about Cengage Unlimited either from the college bookstore or by going to cengage.com, the website there. If you like a good old-fashioned hard copy textbook, you can also rent one. You just pay shipping for $8, or you can get a loose leaf printed version, which is literally just the pages of the book shrink wrapped, not bound together. And shipping for that is free. MindTap does, however, come with a digital textbook, so you don't have to get a printed textbook as well. You can just get that code and use the digital book if you like. That's all entirely up to you. So the next important thing that I want to make sure to point out to you on here, first off, is the method of instruction. Obviously, this is an online class, and so you have to have regular access to a computer and a reliable internet connection, either on campus, at your house, at McDonald's, wherever it is. You need to make sure that you have those things. You are expected as a student to spend at least a minimum of 10 hours a week working on the classwork for the course, reading materials, reviewing assignments, and all those kind of things in order to be successful. And you will, of course, be accessing the course primarily through Canvas, which if you're watching this video, you should already be on Canvas. So looking at how the course is graded, there are three major areas for the grade to come from in the course. The first of these is exams, and this is going to be the largest chunk of your grade. 60% of your overall average is going to come from exams. There are 5 units that the course is split up into, and there are 5 unit exams. I do not give a cumulative final exam. There will just be the 5 unit exams. Those exams will consist of anything from multiple choice and true false type questions to possibly some short answer style questions and things like that. The exams will open on the first day of every unit, which is usually a Friday. There's at least one exception to that, at 8 a.m. and they will close on the last day of the unit, which is usually a Thursday. Again, some exceptions, and I'll get to that in a moment, at 11:59 p.m. So you'll have the entire length of the unit to take the exam. So within that week that we're doing that unit, you have some wiggle room to work the assignments and the exam and things like that. Most of the coursework is going to come from MindTap, and that will consist of 25% of your overall grade. There will be assignments given for each unit and for each chapter within the unit, usually 2 or 3 assignments per chapter. I try not to overload you. Some of the assignments are really sort of short and quick. Some of them are a bit more involved. So it just kind of depends on the size. But like I say, I do try to not overload you. However, I do also recommend that you don't wait until the very last day to complete all the MindTap assignments. There are also a few other instructor-created assignments, things like the syllabus quiz, which is the first assignment you'll need to complete, as well as discussion posts, weekly discussion posts that we do. And those assignments collectively will make up 15% of your overall average on the class. So the most important assignment for this week that you need to do relatively quickly is going to be that syllabus quiz. That is our sort of census assignment. Failure to complete the syllabus quiz may result in you being dropped from the class because that's the first assignment that needs to be completed within the next couple of days, ideally. So make sure you get that done, and I'll show you where to find that once I finish talking about the syllabus itself. Want to draw your attention down here, late work and makeup exams. All the exams and assignments are to be completed through Canvas and MindTap within the time allowed. And generally speaking, you will have the entire week for a unit to do all of the assignments. I don't have necessarily really nitpicky due dates in that sense. There's only one place where the due dates get a little bit nitpicky. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Late work is generally not accepted unless you have arranged with me ahead of time to do that. And students will not be allowed to retake exams once you've taken them. Of course, if you've had some kind of technical issue or something like that during an exam, then we can make an exception. But don't ask to retake an exam if you didn't like your grade. On the subject of extra credit, I do not generally provide extra credit to students on an individual basis. I don't believe that that's fair to your classmates. In that case, however, occasionally I will offer extra credit assignments to the entire class. This is, however, not a guarantee in any given class, so do not rely on the possibility of an extra credit assignment to bring up your grade. Focus on the assignments that are offered, and you should do just fine. When it comes to final exams, they are expected to be taken at a particular time. There is, of course, some more wiggle room in the summer than there is during a regular long semester. The final exam for us will simply be the Unit 5 exam. So when it comes to contacting me, I highly recommend that you contact me through your Navarro College email address. Occasionally, my college email address will filter out emails that come from outside email accounts. And so if you want to make sure that I get your email, I recommend using your Navarro College email account. You can also contact me using the messenger on Canvas. That's an excellent way to get in touch with me as well. I will, however, mention that if you send me an email with your Navarro College email address, don't forget to check for my reply, because I will reply to you in the same manner. I have had students in the past who didn't see an emailed reply until much later, and so missed an opportunity that they had open to them just because they didn't check their email. So if you do send an email to that through your Navarro College email account, unless that email account is forwarded to an email you check all the time, make sure that you check it for my reply as well. As far as academic integrity goes, please make sure you do your own work at all times. Especially when it comes to the discussion posts, I'm going to ask you to go out and find articles and things like that. And I will ask you to summarize the article. Please summarize them in your own words. Don't just copy and paste the article into the discussion post, because that's quite lazy and I will take off points for it in that case. So, I mean, simply when it comes to these sort of posts and things like that, just write your thoughts and you should be fine. If you reference anything, tell me what you're referencing and give me a little citation. And we should all get along just fine. Other sort of caveats and things like that can all be found in the Student Code of Conduct. It is important when in an online class, particularly when participating in discussions and things like that, that if you disagree with your classmates, and this is a politics class, you're going to disagree with your classmates, and that's perfectly acceptable and encouraged even, but disagree with your classmates in a civil manner. If you think that their idea is stupid, then say that their idea is stupid, but do not tell them that they, as a person, are in that case. And I probably don't say your idea is stupid either, because that's just not a terribly great way to argue either. So just keep that in mind, especially as we're doing these discussions. Politics is a really sensitive area for a lot of people. People's politics are personal to them. And so interact with each other as politely and civilly as possible. Disagree, but don't be mean about it when it comes to it. So the last thing that I want to particularly draw your attention to down here are the major course topics. You can see the chapters that we will be covering. There's 18 chapters in the book, and we will touch on all of them. Generally speaking, the units come in 4 chapter chunks. So Unit 1 will cover chapters 1 through 4. Units 2 and 3 are only 3 chapters long, 5 through 7, and then 8 through 10. And then Units 4 and 5 will be 4 chapters long, 11 through 14, and then 15 through 18 on the courses. All intended to be kind of grouped together in a way that they kind of make sense in that sense. The unit exams for each of these units will collectively be 60%, but exams 1, 4, and 5 will carry a little bit more weight than 2 and 3 because there's more material covered in those. But collectively, all the exams will be worth 60%. There are, of course, other important links and things like that for Navarro College services and other stuff down here at the bottom of the syllabus page, which you can see in greater detail yourself. If you click the next button down here, that'll take you to the class calendar, and it gives you a nice visual layout of due dates and things like that when everything will be due. There should be some images that'll pop up here eventually. Right. So there we are. So the first day of class is Thursday, July 11th. And that's we'll be doing the introduction. The syllabus quiz will be open, of course, on July 11th, and Unit 1 will start on July 11th. So all of your MindTap assignments and things like that will be open and available from Thursday, July 11th. Please note the syllabus quiz is due by Sunday, July 14th. So make sure you get that done within those first few days. So generally speaking, the exam and the MindTap assignments will all be due at the end of the unit, which is normally going to be the following Thursday. So for Unit 1, it's going to be July 18th. The only thing that has nitpicky due dates are the discussion posts. And that's because we want to encourage some interaction, some back and forth. So you'll be asked to make an initial discussion post. Those will all be due by the first Monday of the unit. In the case of Unit 1, July 15th. All of the initial posts need to be up by July 15th because you will be making additional posts in response to your classmates. If you haven't made your initial post until the very last day of the unit, then nobody will be able to respond to you. So your first post where you respond to my prompt needs to be up by that first due date. And then the second due date represents making your responses to your classmates and the time you have allotted to do that. So those are the only dates that are really nitpicky. And it's important to make sure that you get on that schedule, again, so we can encourage that conversation on the discussion boards. As I said, generally speaking, the exams and everything will open on the day that the units open, which will normally be the Friday. The only exception, of course, being Unit 1, which opens today, or July 11th, rather, which is Thursday. And they will normally close on the Thursday, the following Thursday, with the only exception being down here, Unit 5, which is actually going to close on the Wednesday, because that is the last day of Summer 2, August 14th, which is Wednesday. Otherwise, everything pretty much follows course. When it comes to Unit 5, all the due dates are sort of moved back a little bit. So your discussion posts will be Sunday and Tuesday as opposed to Monday and Wednesday in that case as well. You can also click on this link down here and get a PDF version of these calendars here if you want to print them out or something like that. If you click next at that point, that will take you to your syllabus quiz. It's just a short little quiz. Just about 12 questions long. It's timed at 15 minutes. Have it finished by Sunday, July 14th, which is Bastille Day. So as a bit of trivia there. So do that really quick. Again, that's your census assignment. Should be relatively easy to do in that case as well. So that's that information. So if we go back to home, you can get to everything that you need to get to from the home page on the course here. So always, when in doubt, go back home. And you can find everything you need to that way. So if you have any issues with Canvas, you click on that link. It'll take you to the sort of one-stop service desk page at Navarro, and they can help you with any Canvas issues that you have. If you want to sort of easily find my information, the instructor information button here will take you to that. These other two tabs right here are also going to be extremely important. The first of these is MindTap. Now pay very close attention to me as I talk about MindTap, because the way that you access MindTap is going to be extremely important, and it'll make your life a lot easier if you do it exactly as I'm going to explain at this point. So you hit that button on the home page that said MindTap. It's going to take you to this instruction page. You can click on this link and it will show you an instructional video for registering for MindTap. But you can also just watch me here if you want. Important to note as well, MindTap will always open in either a new window or a new tab if your browser has blocked pop-ups. It will block MindTap from opening up. So make sure that you allow pop-ups for this page so that you can actually access your MindTap thing there. Now, MindTap is run by Cengage. It's not a Navarro College run program. So if you run into any technical problems with MindTap, you will want to make sure you contact Cengage support right here. If you are having technical problems with MindTap and you contacted Cengage support, I highly recommend as well that you shoot me an email and you let me know that that's something you're having problems with, so that if we need to give you some extra time on assignments or due dates, we can arrange that once you've gotten everything sorted out. So, accessing MindTap. You're going to get to this page from that button. Go down here and click Next. And that is going to take you to a page that looks entirely blank except for this little gray box at the top. This little gray box up here is your link to MindTap. If you click on that, MindTap will open up, like I say, in a new tab or a new window. And MindTap can be a little slow to load on slower internet connections. It will load eventually. It'll just take it a little bit longer to do its thing. I have a relatively slow internet connection at home, so it's going to take a little bit longer to do its thing. But ultimately, you will see it pop up. MindTap is pretty intuitive and relatively easy to use. Most students have very little issue diving right in and using it. Now, I've already accessed my MindTap And so when you first get on, you'll have a screen that will offer to do a tutorial to sort of walk you through MindTap. And it'll have a picture of the cover of the book on it. You just tell it sort of okay, and it'll take you to this page. This is the main page that you'll be able to see. So I've got groupings of chapters here that have activities in them. So for Unit 1, it's actually going to cover Part 1 and Part 2, Dilemmas of Democracy and Foundations of American Government. So you can see our chapters there. If you click on them, then you can see what is available. So like I said, 2, sometimes 3 assignments per chapter. The watch and consider ones are relatively quick. You get a video, you answer a couple of questions, basically. The focus activities will be anywhere from like 3 to 5 or so, sort of short activities that you can do. And then the quizzes are 25 question quizzes, multiple choice quizzes for each chapter there. So you'll be able to access all of those assignments by clicking on that. If it's got an orange dot on it, that means that it counts towards your grading. You need to make sure that you look at it. Also within each chapter is a digital copy of the chapter from the book too, so you can do the reading and everything like that. MindTap is really great because at any point, if you're doing your assignment, so if I click on the focus activities here, and it will eventually open, hopefully. There it goes. Sorry. Like I say, it does work on slower internet connections. It's just a little bit slower to do it. So as I've got this open, and let's say I'm doing one of the assignments in the focus activities there, and perhaps I want to reference something in the book there while I'm doing this. You have this nice little icon over here on the side that says full book. That full book icon will open up over your screen, and it can be accessed from anything. So if you're in the chapter quiz, you need to look something up in the book, you can always pull that book out from the side over here. Again, slower internet connections, so it'll take a little bit longer to load. And be able to search that book while you're taking that quiz or while you're doing those assignments. And it'll always come up here on the side. So that's extremely useful to have. One thing I want to note about the focus activity assignments here is that as you finish these, it will give you a grade on them. And so what usually you'll get 3 chances. It'll take the top grade out of 3 chances. There's only 1 question on here, so your top grade is really either 0 or 1 in this case. So this is probably a bad example, but as you finish each of these, do not hit this blue button up here that says I'm done, grade the assignment now, until you have finished all of the activities within the assignment. If you hit that, it will submit it to the grade book and you won't be able to finish it again. So make sure all of these are done before you hit that I'm done, grade the assignment now button. And that's just on the focus activities. In that case, the other ones are just single activities there. So that's how you get to that. Another great way to look at the activities that are due in any given week in MindTap is to look at the week view up here. So you can see there are 5, technically 6 weeks here, and you can see the 5 weeks where things are due as well. So all of the Unit 1 things are due Thursday, July 18th. If you go up here to week 2, where that day falls, you can see them all kind of there in a list from all 4 chapters. And that may be your preferred way to access those. As you're working as well. So that's an option too. Just to see all the activities that are due right in a row. Like I say, the activities are relatively short. The longest one you'll probably run into is the chapter quiz. But between 10 and 15 activities a week for those chapters shouldn't hopefully be too much to cover MindTap also has some other useful information, things like that. There's the study hub that you can access. You can go straight to the glossary of your textbook, which is nice and useful sometimes in that case as well. They have flashcards for certain key terms, which can be useful too, as well as the resource center and everything like that. As you read the book as well, you can get MindTap to read the book to you. You can make highlights and notes and stuff like that in the digital book. So it's really useful in that case as well. It will keep your average. Mine says class average up here, but it'll have yours, your personal average up there. And that average is what will be entered into the grade book on Canvas. All right, so that's MindTap. The most important thing to remember on MindTap is that you have to access the course through this link in Canvas. If you don't access it through that link in Canvas, then it will ask you for a course key, which you don't have. So make sure that you're accessing MindTap through the links on the Canvas course. The next important button that you'll want down here is the discussions. If you hit that discussion button, it will take you to the current discussion post, which for us is the Unit 1 discussion right now. Each discussion you will find some kind of prompt for you to write about. So here I've provided you an article to read, and I want you to discuss your views on the arguments presented within that article, which talks about the Constitution. So your initial post will be you responding to my prompt. Your second post will be you responding to two of your classmates, at least two of your classmates, and their ideas. Again, if you disagree with them, disagree with their ideas, do not attack them as a person. Another thing that we have in the discussion boards, if you just click on discussions up here at the top, you'll get a list of the discussions. These will become available as the units progress. But up here at the top, you have the Ask Your Professor discussion board. If you have a question that pertains to the entire class, so something about a due date, if you run into a technical problem with like one of the exams or something like that, and you think this is something that might be affecting your classmates, if you're running into a problem with MindTap that you think might be affecting your classmates, I encourage you to ask that question on this discussion board. That way I can respond to it publicly, and everybody else who may also be facing that issue can see that response there. And it may also give your classmates an option to respond back to you. So if you ask a question about a due date or something like that, and you know the answer to your classmate's question, I encourage you to come on here and answer for them as well. But I will be checking this board and will be responding to the posts on this board publicly as well. So if you have a question that's more general about the class, I encourage you to ask it here rather than in a private email. If you have a question about your specific grade or something like that, ask that in a private email, obviously. And the button on the home page that goes to discussions will always take you to the current unit discussion in that case as well. So the only other links on the home page that I want you to be aware of are the unit links right down here that will appear in this area here. Right. So you have units 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you click those unit links, you will get a short description of what kind of information you can expect to find within that unit, as well as the link to the exam down here. So that unit page will always have a link to the exam down at the bottom. Now, there is one thing important about Unit 1, and that is that there is an additional assignment on Canvas for Unit 1, and it's called the I Side With quiz. So if you go to the Unit 1 page and you click Next, that's what it's going to take you to, is I Side With. So the I Side With quiz is actually a separate thing. So if you open that, it'll open it in a new window, and it'll take you to I Side With quiz. And this is a quiz that is intended to analyze your political views and match you either to a candidate, which we're coming into an election cycle again, so it will match you with candidates, and it will also match you with political parties and things like that as well. And the quiz is updated continually to deal with new issues as they crop up in American government as well. This is a fantastic resource for determining, particularly when there is a wide field of candidates for an election, who actually matches best with how you feel on political issues. And so I highly encourage you to continue to use this quiz even as you leave this class and as you are out in the world and being an adult and voting in elections, because it's a fantastic thing for determining who actually does support your views. So I encourage you to do that. Each of these sections will have multiple questions. So anytime it says show more questions, you want to make sure you click that so that you can take the entire quiz. Once you've taken the entire quiz, it can be a little lengthy, but I promise you it's worth it. Then it will give you your results. It will tell you what political party you align with, what candidates you align with, and all those kind of things. Once you have those results and that information, then you can go on here and respond to the questions that I have on Canvas, which will give you your grade. And it's just a kind of self-reflection type of assignment. In that case, there's not necessarily any right or wrong answers when it comes to it, but it's a way for you to look at and to really analyze your political beliefs and how you match up with various parties and candidates and things like that. So that's the only sort of weird thing, I guess, about Unit 1. Generally speaking, when you click next on those unit pages, then it will take you to chapter pages. And so for each chapter, there are a collection of resources available. And particularly, there are crash course videos. There's a crash course set of videos for government and politics. And I've put some of the more pertinent videos for that on each of these chapter pages. So you can go through and find those and look at them as well. So that's an article that you don't actually have access to. And so, and each unit page is going to work very similarly for each Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, so on and so forth. So that is basically the Canvas page in a nutshell. And that should cover just about everything that you need to know. You want to make sure, excuse me for that, you want to make sure that you get your syllabus quiz done. And you also want to make sure that you put a profile picture on your Canvas page so you can see, my profile picture up there and the account button there. If you are unsure as to how to change your profile picture, if you click on this announcement up at the top, I have wonderful little step-by-step directions for changing that account picture. Important to note, I would like to see a picture of your face because the idea behind this is that I connect a face to a name as it appears in the grade book. It should be the easiest grade that you get all semester as long as I see a picture of your face next to your name in the grade book. I will give you 25 points. And it is as simple as that. If you don't know how to do that, follow these steps and I'll tell you exactly how to put that picture in there. So that is the federal government course. I want to welcome you all again to the course, and I look forward to working with you over the next 5 weeks. If you have any questions or issues, please feel free to email me or to come visit me if you like at the Idea Center in the Bain Center on campus. I will be updating you regularly, usually through announcements and responses to your discussions and things like that. So yeah, welcome to the course, and I wish you the best of luck.